All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a Smackdown review for April 28, 2023. The show is pretty much about the draft. Fucking sucked, like Smackdown usually does. No Roman Reigns again. They used to put a lot of effort into the draft. Now they don't do it anymore. I don't know why. A lot of these wrestlers that get drafted, nobody gives a fuck about. You got they used to have the rosters like sit in the back or whatever. So when they get drafted, you can see their reaction and shit, and they would bring them out sometimes, some of the wrestlers when they get picked. They did that with the NXT roster, but they didn't do it with the Raw or SmackDown roster. And I remember back in the day, you used to have GMs for each show. Like Eric Bischoff was the Raw GM, Teddy Long was the SmackDown GM, shit like that. So yeah, they don't put a lot of effort into the shit anymore for the draft. All right, let's get to it. Got Triple H comes out on the stage, says 50% of the roster is going to be drafted tonight, and 50% of the roster is going to be drafted on Raw. Said the post-draft roster will take effect on May 8th. All right, and he says first pick, SmackDown picks Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa, and Roman Reigns. Breaking news, Roman Reigns is the first pick. Part-timer that barely shows up to work. Second pick, Raw picks Cody Rhodes. And then SmackDown picks Bianca Belair. And then Raw picks the final pick of the first round, Becky Lynch. They're gonna switch the women's champions. Bianca Belair is on SmackDown, and Rhea Ripley's probably gonna get drafted most likely to Raw. And that's it for that. And Triple H introduces the Usos. And they go back and forth here. He's like, they're talking about Roman Reigns here. You ain't text back. You ain't call back. DM back. Email back. Smoke signal back. The letter in the bottle back. None of that shit. So they haven't heard from Roman Reigns since they lost the titles at WrestleMania to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And then KO and Sami Zayn come out. Sami says, I'm going to say one thing. You don't think it's strange since we beat you at WrestleMania that Roman hasn't called you or texted you? He hasn't said a single word to you this whole time. You're out here dedicating this match to Roman. He says Roman was drafted with Heyman Solo, no Usos, no Bloodline. If that doesn't tell you everything you need to know, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, that's pretty much it. The rest of the promo, they're just hyping up the match and shit, just the repetitive shit. All right, next up we got LA Knight, yeah, versus Butch. Butch does Sheamus's move that beats out of Baldwin, and then Butch had a moonsault. LA Knight planted Butch with a superplex for a near fall, and then he hit him with a boot to the face. Then he hit the blunt force trauma for the win. So finally, LA Knight gets a win. Hopefully, this is a good. He gets a push now. He starts winning more matches and getting booked right. Because the fans like him. They keep saying that. Yeah, shit. His catchphrase. So yeah, hopefully he keeps winning, and then he eventually gets a title shot by the time we get to Money in the Bank or SummerSlam. So we'll see what happens. Next up, we got a segment in the back with the Bloodline. Usos, Paul Heyman, Solo Sikoa. So the Usos are like sitting on a couch. Their backs are turned or whatever. They can't see Heyman and Solo. Usos say tonight is the night. Paul says the world is distracted because they think the Usos will be drafted on Raw. Like tonight is the night the Usos get drafted to the Island of Relevancy as champions or the Ocean of Obscurity as ex-champions. The Roman wants you to know he will only accept the fact tonight is the night. And then he looks at Solo when he says this. And then that was it for that. So clearly the building up all the tension. It's been a while now between Roman and the Usos. So hopefully Roman shows up one of these fucking days. All right, next up we got RVD and Michael Hayes. They announced the picks for round 2. SmackDown picks the Street Profits. And then Raw picks the Imperium. Yeah, right there. Profits, and Imperium. And then SmackDown picks the Rated R Superstar Edge. And then what the fuck? Let me show Edge again. There. Raw picks Matt Riddle. Then Street Profits come out. Then they have a match versus Ricochet and Braun Strowman, and versus LWO was with Santos Escobar's lackeys or whatever. Street Profits win. Don't really care. All right, next up we got round 3 picks by JBL and Teddy Long. SmackDown picks Bobby Lashley. Picks for that. Oh, right there. And then Raw picks Drew McIntyre. SmackDown picks the OC, AJ Styles, Gallows, Anderson, and Meechin. And then Raw picks The Miz. Zelina Vega has a match for Sonya Deville. Zelina Vega wins. After the match, Rhea Ripley attacks Zelina Vega. And then she countered one of her moves and then into a DDT with Zelina Vega hitting the DDT. Don't really care. Next up, we got the OC. They come out to the ring. AJ Styles is back. He's finally recovered from his injury, it looks like. So yeah, they come out to the ring. Viking Raiders come out. And then AJ Styles backs up in the corner because it's 4-on-3. Make it fair. And he says, OC, handle your business. Don't really care about this. All right, next up, we got HBK and the Road Dogg. They announced the round 4 picks. SmackDown picks Damage Control. Raw picks Nakamura. SmackDown picks the NXT Women's Tag Team Champions, Elba Fire and Isla Dawn. And then Raw picks the NXT Women's Champion, Indy Hartwell. And that was it for that. And then Karrion Kross in the back, he attacks Nakamura. Nakamura got drafted to Raw, so most likely Karrion Kross gonna be drafted to Raw because they just started the feud. Unless they end the feud early, so I don't know what happens with that. All right, main event. We got the WrestleMania Night 1 rematch. KO and Sami Zayn versus Usos. Sami hit a Blue Thunder Bomb for a 2 count. KO hit a Fisherman Buster and a Swanton for a near fall. And then Kevin Owens hit a pop-up power bomb on Jimmy, and then Jey Uso broke up the pin. KO hit a stunner for a 2 count, and then Solo Sikoa shows up. As soon as he shows up, Riddle attacks him, and they fight in the crowd. And then Sami hit a haluva kick on Jimmy Uso for the win. So Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn retain the tag titles. Pretty obvious. The tension they're building up between the Usos and Roman. So hopefully he shows up one of these fucking days. How could he be so busy, man? He's not showing up to work. What the hell is he doing? He can't even fucking call these guys back and shit. What else? So whenever Roman comes back, he's gonna bitch the Usos out. Whenever that is, probably after Backlash. I'm thinking, because he's not even on Backlash, Roman. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. LA Knight finally got a win, so hopefully he starts winning more matches and they book this guy right, and he'll have a chance to win. Gunther's on Raw now with the Intercontinental title. Austin Theory's probably gonna come over to SmackDown. So maybe by the time Money in the Bank or SummerSlam rolls around, LA Knight can challenge for the US title, maybe win it. And then draft. Yeah, the draft pretty much sucks. It's pretty much irrelevant nowadays. It used to be a thing to look forward to, but not anymore. You don't have you don't have any GMs. You don't have the fucking. They used to have that raffle machine or whatever. That gold raffle machine. Like the GM would pick there was like names in the raffle machine, and then it would like open up the name, like reach in there, grab a name, and then like pull the plastic off the thing, and then just read whoever they drafted, and then the person they drafted would come out and like give the reaction and shit. Yeah, but they don't do that anymore. No more GMs. They don't have the live feed of the Raw roster and the SmackDown roster, but they had the NXT roster. And then that was pretty much it for SmackDown. Next week's Backlash. So yeah, hopefully Backlash is good, but we'll see. All right, see ya.